Talk with LT, episode 41. This episode is brought to you by StackGwop.com. StackGwop.com/shop for all the StackGwop merch. If you haven't checked out StackGwop merch, make sure you go to StackGwop.com. Click on the shop button. It's on the front page and it's on the top toolbar. And check out the merch. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel, StackGwop on YouTube. Subscribe to Blunt Talk with LT, the channel. That's the channel with all the Blunt Talk with LT clips. Make sure you subscribe to Blunt Talk with LT on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all that shit. Shout out to my sponsors, The Infatuation. The Infatuation is an app for it helps your accommodation with food on the go. If you need any restaurant or anything, hit up the Infatuation app. Shout out to my other sponsor, Anchor. Anchor is a podcast app that I'm actually using to host my podcast. So shout out to Anchor. All right, let's get into this shit. First thing I'm going to talk about. Let's get to the ball topics. Before I actually get to the actual basketball games, let's talk about Ayesha Curry and her Red Table Talk, saying those comments about wanting to feel more attractive and basically wanting male attention. And okay, let me say that the worst part about those comments, before anyone thinks that I'm just gonna go in and hate on Ayesha Curry, the worst thing about those comments is the fact that the comments is like 30 seconds out of an hour and 49-minute conversation. Like, I haven't watched the whole interview. All I watch is those comments, and that's what happens. The worst thing about the media is they'll take the worst part or the most controversial part, and then they'll have the whole discussion about that instead of listening to the whole hour 49 of the conversation. Like, there could have been so much more said there, so much more insight. So, like, these are just, like, that's the problem with, like, that's why I'm not jumping all over it, because I have my own podcast, and I know how it is when you talk for an extended period of time. There's certain things that you say that might be not the best, well thought out, or ill-advised, or some things that you probably should keep to yourself. But that's what happens when you speak for extended periods of time all the time. Well, she doesn't do it all the time, so that's even cause for more slip-ups. But even when you do it all the time, shit like that happens. It's not the best look. The comment wasn't a great look. It's kind of like, all right, you're with Steph Curry. No one's trying you because there's respect for Steph Curry. They understand that it's not just the respect for his money and the fact that you guys are married and have children. It's just, well, that's the main part of it, actually. You see, like, Ayesha Curry's she needs to be like, okay, her image to the public is one of, like, she's a wholesome woman, a family woman, a married woman off the market with kids. Keyword is off the market. So for me, the thing that it proves about what I see most about the whole Ayesha Curry wanting a male attention thing, the thing that I see the most out of that is the fact that it shows that maybe male groupies are more respectful than female groupies, or not even well, Steph obviously has way more groupies and fans because he's Steph Curry. He's one of the best basketball players in the world, the best shooter of all time, 3-time champion. Obviously, he's gonna have those groupies, and he's gonna have more. He's more famous. But Ayesha Curry has her own shit going for her. She has her cooking show. She has her shit. But everybody knows she's married. So men are, I guess, in that regards, more respectful, because she says that girls hit on Steph Curry, knowing his situation, knowing he's a family man, knowing he's a faithful man with kids. Girls are still shooting their shot. But that's the clout. That's the power of the fame and the recognition. And it's not just fame. He's Steph Curry. He's a talent. There's just an admiration. I don't know. It wasn't a good look for her to say those comments. It comes across as insecure. She should be happy with the attention that her man gives her, and she should be happy that she has a great life, great family structure, a man that's faithful. Well, that's from the outside looking in. We don't know the inside, but seemingly it's clear that they have a wholesome family. So she should be happy with that. But I don't know. Didn't listen to the whole minute, the whole hour 49. So maybe she is happy with that, and that was just one of those comments that just come up just out of discussion. Who the fuck knows? All right, moving on from that shit. I didn't expect to spend so much time talking about that shit to open it up. We got the Raptors locked in with a game 7 with Sixers. I thought the Raptors would have finished it off in 6, but clearly Philly's a good home team. And we have the Portland Trailblazers and the Denver Nuggets going to a game 7. Before I get to those games, let's talk about the games that the series that wrapped up. The Pistons been gone. What the fuck am I talking about? The Bucks and the Celtics. After game 1, people thought the Celtics actually had a chance because they blew them out by 20. I just seen that. When I seen that game, I was no cause for concern. Because I looked at that game, I'm like, okay, the Bucks just had an easy first round. They played the Pistons, the god-awful Pistons, where it's like they had Blake Griffin for, 1 or 2 games, and that's it. So that was like the easiest series. Not much effort. They came off a little rusty in the second series because they were just playing such an easy team that they slapped around. So, yeah, they came off a little rusty. Boston was locked in with a good matchup with Indiana. Although they didn't have Victor Oladipo, Indiana's still a good team. So they were a little more fresh. They come into that series, slapped them up a little bit. The Bucks recover, obviously. Bucks ain't playing that shit. They're just a much better team. Won 4 straight. They could have swept that series if they didn't have that first bad game where they were a little rusty. But really and truly, their team is just stacked with the talent, and people are underappreciate how good their talent is. Like, they act like Middleton is some scrub. They act like Bledsoe's a scrub, and like these guys are like, Middleton's an all-star. Bledsoe's almost like an all-star. He's an all-star caliber player. So is Brogdon. Brogdon's a 50, 40, 90 guy, and that shit never. I haven't seen that shit happen since Steph Curry's MVP season. Although it's not to the usage rate and he's not taking as many shots or anything as Steph Curry did, but still a good season. He's a lockdown defender. They have Lopez, who's a big who can shoot the 3. Like, they have so many pieces. Don't sleep on Milwaukee. It's not just Giannis. He has a full squad. But yeah, Boston, that team's breaking up. Kyrie's gone. I don't see Kyrie lasting another season there. They're not gonna re-sign him. He's not gonna re-sign with them, I should say. He's gonna go somewhere else. Probably play with LeBron or KD. Who knows? Yeah, man. The Raptors have their handful for that Game 7 with the Sixers, but the Raptors are at home. And the Raptors play much better at home, and the Sixers play way worse on the road. So the Sixers are one of the worst road teams. They're really a home-strong team, so we're not too concerned about that. Kawhi Leonard's been bodying them all series. I feel like the Raptors are going to win that Game 7 easily by like 10, 15 points. The Portland and the Nuggets series, I have no idea who's going to win that shit. To keep it a bean, I have no idea who's winning that Game 7. I'm leaning towards Denver because that home court advantage is huge in Denver, but who knows? And, of course, the Warriors finished off the Rockets. People were concerned when Kevin Durant went down. I was not concerned. I'm like, they play better according to all of the stats. The rest of the team plays better without Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant is just that added insurance to say, okay, Kevin Durant's the type of player on the team where it's like, okay, you have him. Their system is a little fucked up. It kind of not everybody plays as well. The ball movement isn't as great. But when it comes to the tight situations against the good teams, he's that player that makes you guys just over the top, unstoppable, guarantees that you'll win. Now we're going to have some pretty good matchups, but ultimately I still think Golden State's the best team left in the NBA, although they don't have DeMarcus Cousins, all-star center, and Kevin Durant, superstar, small forward, probably one of the top 3 players in the NBA currently. Yo, people don't understand how tight that top 5 is for the NBA. Like, because Anthony Davis isn't in the playoffs, people forget how good Anthony Davis is. He's top 5. Giannis clearly top 5. Kevin Durant clearly top 5. Kawhi clearly top 5. LeBron clearly top 5. But then it's like, okay, who's left out? You got James Harden left out. You got Steph Curry left out. It's like, no, you got to scramble that around because some way, somehow, Steph has to be in that top 5. Top 5 discussions are fucking tiring. It's tiring because when you see these players play at their peak, you're like, who the fuck is better? And it's like, at this point, you just got to put up the resume. Who's done more? Who's accomplished more? And you have to stand on those. That's why it's like it's hard to give Giannis the best player in the world because he hasn't accomplished anything yet. But if people remember, they gave LeBron the best player in the world title from when he was still losing rings, before he was winning championships. I'm saying losing rings, but before he was winning championships, before he was making it to the finals. Well, he made it to the finals once before they crowned him best player in the world. But he was getting that crown while Kobe was still winning championships and the Celtics were winning a championship. They were saying LeBron was the best player in the world. So maybe they want to give that shit to Giannis preemptively, but I wouldn't suggest that he's the best player in the world. All right, let's get to these fucking predictions. What do I got? I got let's make these solid predictions. Got the Raptors versus the Bucks, 1 and the 2 seed going at it. And I got the Warriors and the Nuggets. Let's say the Nuggets. Yeah, the Nuggets are going to win that. All right. It's going to be a tough series for the Warriors. I always have to fit in the basketball talks because whenever I leave basketball talks out of the episodes, people always find something to bitch about. Oh, you didn't talk about ball. You haven't aired in a week and a half. I'm like, fuck, man. Y'all have Stephen A. Smith to hear talk about basketball every day. The basketball topics sometimes, man, get a little tired because people switch. That's the problem. You switch your mind every day about a topic. Like, I'll put out a clip for a basketball topic, and then a week later, I'll be like, fuck, do I even still believe this shit? Like, shit changes. I was talking about you can't put James Harden in. You cannot have a top 5 without James Harden. Blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that shit anymore. That was like a couple weeks ago, and these clips just stay out there forever. That's why basketball talks are fucking horrible sometimes, because other topics, it's like you're not going to flip-flop on general topics unless presented new information that compels you to switch your mind completely, because it's just like, okay, it's just over-dominating proof or evidence that sways your mentality. But generally, if you're speaking on general topics, you're going to have your stand after you get all the information and make up your mind about it. So it's a little different than speaking about basketball and football and shit that changes every fucking time. And it's not definitive, and people want to hold you to the things you say about these things. It's like, come on, nigga. Your mind switches based on performance. These are people. It's not fucking just numbers and stats and shit. All right, so we're going to move on from the basketball talk. I was going to talk about rumors, but they're not even rumors anymore. As the days and the weeks went by, everything's been pretty much came out and confirmed, and Joe Budden spoke on it in his podcast, and it's confirmed that him and Sin are broken up, and he's going through it and all this, the breakup motion and all that crap. It's unfortunate. I'm not going to speak on it too much. This is more of a like, when you speak on relationships and breakups and shit, it's better to have discussions instead of me just speaking to the public and speaking on the, like, I'd rather just do that when I get like a female co-host to, speak about these relationships and who was in the right and who was in the wrong and why did they break up and blah, 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 and whose side are you taking in the breakup and all that bullshit talk. That talk happens when you have someone to discuss it too. So I'm going to leave that to a later episode when I have like T2 Lovely on or something. So we going to move on for that. Very unfortunate. It makes the podcast energy on Joe's podcast a little down, because that's what happens when people go through breakups. You're talking for 2 hours, 3 hours on your podcast, and then you say something that relates to relationships or girlfriends or something, and then, you can't get into your same bag because, you're single now. So it is affecting the podcast slightly, but I haven't been actively listening to every episode of the Joe Budden podcast. Life hits sometimes, and then you're in your own shit. It's not like I'm less of a fan of the podcast. It's just I've been missing a bunch of episodes. It's just life. You know what I mean? All right, so next topic. We got no more HBO boxing. So HBO, they seen the light at the end of the tunnel for them. They noticed that the revenue stream of boxing wasn't it for them anymore. They don't even have like replays of the old. They just completely discontinued boxing on HBO. Like, there's no more pay-per-view. There is no more like old fights being aired on HBO. Like, they're completely out of the boxing business. Showtime's been kicking ass for a while because bigger fighters like Floyd Mayweather went with Showtime, and then there's these new apps like the Zone app and all these shit that like Canelo Alvarez signed with, and people are going different avenues now, and it's like it's different. There's going to be a completely different format for live entertainment and live sports and everything as these apps continue to expand and these new apps continue to pop up, and the way media's become differently consumed. Everything's changing nowadays. The future is here. HBO's seen the light. HBO's out of boxing now. So if you're an HBO boxing fan, if you're a boxing fan in general and you consume your boxing from HBO, HBO's out, nigga. They out this bitch. I don't know. They were probably in the red, because if you're gonna jump out of something that you've been in for years, decades, HBO boxing has been going on for decades. So when you're out for when you're there for decades and you call it quits, they were probably deep in that red. Okay, so new evidence. Remy claims that she has video footage of her not at the event during the time, or she was at her house, filmed at her house during the time of the alleged assault taken on Brittany Taylor. And I said the last time I reported on this that I didn't believe Brittany Taylor. I believe she's clout chasing. I feel like she's full of shit. I feel like because she had problems with Remy, she wanted to pin this shit on Remy. Disrespectful little, this girl, man. The audacity, trying to fuck over her parole and her probation. It's like, well, you tried. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what happens to false accusers, but something has to happen to these false accusers. They fucking up people's life. Like, really and truly, there needs to be something that happens to someone that just fakes an incident or falsely accuses someone of an assault, sexual assault, or any type of matter like that. It's just like you're fucking with people's lives with these boy that cried wolf tales and all this bullshit.
Fuck out of here.
I hope everything goes good for Remy in her case. I don't wish jail on nobody, and I don't wish probation on nobody, because it's your freedom. You're out, you're on road, but your freedom is infringed on. You can't even do anything and live life the way you want to when you're on probation, parole, or any of the sorts. So hope she gets off of that. I hope that shit just goes the fuck away. We got Kim Kardashian has a total of 18 people freed from prison. Kim Kardashian studying to be a lawyer. She wants to kind of fast track it and not do the traditional ways of being a lawyer. But with her connections in the politics and her connections with Donald Trump and the American government, she's been able to free up to 18 citizens from prison. I don't know the specifics on every case, but that is kind of remarkable that she's getting 18 motherfuckers out of jail. I don't know how the hell she's able to do that without any type of law degree and just connections and stuff. But that kind of shows that the system's kind of twisted, because if you're that big of a figure, you can get shit like that done. And it's like, it's good because basically I feel like her ploy is to get innocent people or people that have been fucked over for bullshit charges to get out, which is good ultimately, that she's doing a good thing. But it just shows that the system, like, these are lawyers. There's lawyers and all sorts of people and families fighting for their freedom and fighting for their family's freedom and their individual's freedom. May it be their husband, brother, daughter, son, whatever it be. And it's like they have no chance of getting the results. But when you're that famous and you have that much influence and power, you're able to do shit. So it's like, what kind of legal system or what type of standards of principles do they have if all it takes is a little bit of clout, power, and face name recognition to get the results done, is all I'm saying. Ultimately a good cause. I don't know how deep she's gonna go with this whole law thing and get, her. I don't know if she's gonna really fully become a lawyer. I don't know if she's willing to put through that time and pass the bar and all of that. I don't know if she's... Who knows? She has time and resources and money on her hands. Who knows what Kim Kardashian will do? She went from organizing Paris Hilton's fucking closet to being like the most, most searched, most popular person on the planet, basically. Well, she's competing with her sister Kylie, but really and truly, Kim is more famous at this point, I would say, internationally. All right, I'm not gonna go too deep on Selena Powell exposing, rappers and athletes and shit on No Jumper. She was sitting down with Adam 22 exposing a bunch of niggas. The only person that I can really take the word for when she's exposing is Academics. And it's because Academics, we've seen all this stuff with her and Academics. We've seen her on stream with Academics. We've seen them talk about them fucking and all sorts of stuff. We've seen him go in on, who's it, Lil Tracy? Oh, no, that was for Angelica. Never mind, that was a whole different bitch. But we seen their whole saga. So when she talks about, her fucking 6ix9ine and then telling Academics and Academics being sad because they were in some sort of weird type of relationship dynamic and she was fucking niggas and it was pissing him off and he was flying her out and he was doing his shit with her and blah blah blah. So the Academics exposing when she's going in on Academics, cool, whatever. Some of that story's been kind of confirmed from Academics' side. All these other people, she has such a history of lying on rappers, athletes, and people that I'm not gonna just simply take her word for it because she said it. Like, she's literally gonna have to bring up the facts or the receipts, as they want to call this shit. You got to bring the evidence. You going to have to bring the evidence. We ain't believing you off, Riff. You don't got that type of reputation. We look at you like you's a fraud. You fugazi. You lie.
What the fuck is you talking about?
When you lie, we ain't taking your word. You gotta prove everything you say once you lie like that. And she's the type of person that doesn't give a fuck about people's relationships or whatever. She's trying to expose. And it's like, if people know that, why would they even fuck with her? So it's like, sometimes it's just people are just that stupid or she's a liar. So we gotta, for me, I need more evidence when it comes to her claims. I'm not going to hone in on her claims like they're real claims. And, yeah. I'm not going to take her seriously. Sorry. Anybody else can entertain that shit, but I ain't entertaining it. Although I just spoke about it for a few minutes. What else we got? Soulja Boy sentenced 240 days. Okay, this hasn't been organized. I will get back to this. This has been Blunt Talk with LT. StackWop.com. Yerp.